Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delapena, and this is your short take. Honestly, I think this country has lost its fucking mind. So this is the first headline I see when I get home from work. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. Senate GOP pleads with Trump not to kill Ukraine-border security deal. This is the headline in the Hill. Senate GOP pleads with Trump. The current Senate GOP is pleading with a man who is not even active in our government. No matter what Alina Harper calls him in court, he is not President Trump. He did not win in 2020. He is not fucking sitting in the White House right now. In fact, he is sitting in a courtroom, and this is going to be one of many courtrooms he's going to be sitting in over the next 12 months. And we have the Senate GOP pleading with him not to kill this deal. Ignore that sound. So I think this country's out of its mind. And the reason the Senate GOP is pleading with Donald Trump is because he has got the House GOP by its cojones. He is directing their every move. He has literally told Mr. Johnson not to work a border deal, which is why Johnson came back and said, we can't get a deal on the border until Trump is reelected. You can believe that one. Literally, we can't work a border deal until Trump is reelected. He has tied a deal on the border to Trump's reelection. Now, we're going to talk about voting. That's the next part of this. Because what this shows you is just how sick the GOP on the whole is. That they had an opportunity to get rid of the scumbag. They did. They did not have to legitimize him. They did not have to give him everything he wanted. They did not have to even acknowledge him after he lost in 2020. They could have simply cut ties with him and gotten him out of the party, neutered his power, and gotten rid of him. Because no matter what anyone is telling you, yes, his followers adore him. MAGA is not the majority in this nation. In fact, MAGA is not the majority in the Republican Party. They are just the loudest, the nastiest, the most racist, the most inappropriate, the most violent of the Republicans. That's what they are. Did I mention transphobic and anti-LGBT? Okay. My point here is this. I'm sorry, but I have seen several interviews now of people coming out of voting in New Hampshire and Iowa stating that they are voting because they don't want Donald Trump. That's why they voted for Nikki Haley. But when you ask them if Trump is the nominee, an awful lot of them are saying, if he's the nominee, I'm voting for Joe Biden. And these are Republicans. Now, let me give you some numbers here. And I'm primarily talking right now to Democratic Party voters, because if the Democratic Party comes out in force in November, we can eliminate these people. All right. But we got to keep voting. It can't be just 2024 and then we sit back and not worry about the midterms, and we sit back and we don't worry about 2028. Because if we win in 2024, it's all done. But no, it's not. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. But first, let me give you the lay of the land here. If the Democrats pull this stunt again, all bets are off. If we voted 55%, the GOP has an opportunity to win. If we voted 60%, the GOP loses. If we vote at 70% of capacity, the GOP is out of business. Now, if what we're saying here is 70% of registered Democrats need to show up at the polls, because I believe many of the independents are not going to vote for Donald Trump. And I also believe that those Republicans who are not of Donald Trump's mindset, who are still riding the fence, can be convinced to vote for Joe Biden. And we're going to keep at that. But we need to make sure we can control what we can control. And the Democratic Party voters need to come out in force. Look, wouldn't you love to be able to say we were the ones that took the GOP and Trump down? I would love to be able to brag about that the very next morning. I would love to be able to say we came out at 60, 70% and we took it back. They're out there saying you need only 5 seats to take the House back. Forget that shit. We had a 9-seat lead before we lost in 2022. Let's not just settle for 5. And look, in a time when we are in a position of ending up in the fascist gutter here, we should be able to expand the Senate. To expand the Senate to 60 may not be doable right away, but that's where we have to be. It has to be a goal, because at 60% of the Senate, we have it all. We have 60 votes in the Senate. We can pass Roe v. Wade codification without worrying about the filibuster being pulled out. This is critically important. Okay? It's not just important to saving democracy, although I can't imagine us making many more improvements anywhere if we don't at least do that. But this stuff is important to our future. Everybody's future in this country. This isn't just another election. And I'm going to tell you something. Here's what we have to talk about. We are going to have to understand that we have several senators that we are not going to be able to eliminate from the landscape, okay, until 2029. I'm sorry. Let me see here. Right, let's see this. I'm just going to double check this. Okay. So these senators, which are considered class 3 senators, their seats aren't up until January 3rd, 2029. So in 2028, we're going to have to vote again, because here are the Republican senators who we're going to be stuck with after 2024. So all of the House in the GOP side is up again. We need to, the House of Representatives, I'm sorry, not just the GOP, everybody's up again in the House of Representatives, okay? We need the House back, and we need it back strong. End of story. No mincing any words here. These are the senators on the Republican side that we're going to be left with until the 2028 election. John Boozman, Katie Boyd Britt, Ted Budd, Mike Crapo, Chuck Grassley, John Hoeven, Ron Johnson. Understand me, Ron, let me deliver the fake electors Johnson. John Kennedy, the whack job from Louisiana. James Langford, Mike Lee, another election denier. Jerry Moran, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, another horse's ass. Marco Rubio. Yeah, we could have had Val Demings, but we blew that one, didn't we, Florida? Yeah. Eric Schmidt, Tim Scott, Uncle Tim, John Thune, J.D. Vance, fascist at large, who just introduced a bill to prevent anybody from stopping Texas from making killer border wires, and Todd Young. So all of those Republican senators, regardless of the election in 2024, will be returning. Their seats are safe now until 2029. We are going to have to come back strong in 2028 and do this all over again. In fact, if we are smart, we will change this paradigm, and we will all become unbelievable, responsible voters to maintain American democracy and fairness for all people. Every single election. That is our goal, is to get you guys thinking that way. That is it for tonight, and I will talk to you later.